Right then, this is an interesting one. Just another. It's a review of Not a Little Late because it's quite an old guitar. You've probably seen the videos if you're one of the few people that actually watch this channel below here. I invested in this one. I'm glad I did. I've never been. This is the preface. I've never been the biggest Gibson fan. In the hands of the right people, they're brilliant. You can rule the world with them. But the point is, to me, they never worked for me. They were too muddy, they were too cumbersome, they were too thin sounding at times, or they were neck heavy, or they were just fragile. And I never really got the point of them until we find an alternative. For example, the last alternative, there's my cat coming in there. Hello, man. Until we find the alternatives like the Ibanez that I bought, the Art Core one, which was brilliant. Little clue to what we're talking about here when I say Ibanez. Always been good at making things better sometimes than others. So that was obviously reflecting on Gibson's semi-hollow body guitars, such as the 335, 339, things like that. And it's, for the price, phenomenal. And it's one of them things where you go, okay, they can do something. Where did that come from? Well, back in the 70s, when Gibson were, in fairness, not making the best stuff in the world, these started arriving. Gradually started coming into Europe. And this is a prime example. This is as far as I can tell, 1974 or 5 Ibanez SG, where you can tell that after what they call this is the lawsuit era, that's what they say. Because you can see they did a quite interesting facsimile of the original Gibsons. Now, after 75, these headstocks got a little bit less Gibson-y, essentially. There are a couple of notable differences between this and the Gibson SG. One of them is what it's made of, for a start. Yes, it's mahogany, this body here, but it's a birch neck with a rosewood fretboard. And when you ever hear of an SG, you often hear of neck heavy. And that's often because big chunk of mahogany here and a big headstock, and the pivot point is here, it's going to droop. That's what you hear about neck heavy. This isn't, because it's actually slightly lighter than the body itself. And the other difference is unlike the Gibsons, this is a bolt-on neck. Yeah, it's an interesting idea, but don't let it put you off, because it actually works. Made in Japan, as I say, either 1974 or 1975, and it's brilliant. I fell in love with it from the minute I played it the first time. I had to have it. So it's the second guitar of the year that I've snuck into this house, which is quite fun. But this is probably one of the best finds I've ever found. I'm going to go through a little bit of the detail of it now. We'll start from the head down. These machine heads, I don't believe are original. Mainly because there's a couple of remnants of old screw holes here, and also this one here is clearly a different backing to the rest of them. So it's been changed, it's been messed around with, but hey, it's 48 years old. So if I look this good at 48, I'm going to be very happy. They had a couple of them were a little bit loose, but what are you going to do? Tighten them, take them apart. The lubrication does the job. All is well. However, these tuning pegs were actually very, very good. I think these might have been replaced as well. Nice enamel, mother of pearl inlay there. Really, really, really finely cut nut. It's quite a skinny neck. So you can tell it's 70s sort of thing from that, what it's based on. But it's really, really well bound. The mother of pearl inlays inside here are great. They've got a weird sort of colour at the top. They're a bit brownier here than they are here. So the person that was playing this for all those years was probably a rhythm player, I reckon. Maybe I can add some to this to myself. If you ever see these, be aware that unlike the 70s Gibsons at the time, these are the Les Paul era style frets that they were trying to emulate. So what they call the fretless wonder. They're very, very small, but very flat. And these aren't because they're worn down. I'm glad they weren't replaced, because often when they people replace some of these giant railway sleepers and they're terrible. These are, you just have to get used to the fact that when you bend, you have to really put some pressure into it. And it's great for vibrato, but really, really good for legato runs. And my hands are starting to suffer. This hand is just a little bit creaky, and this one doesn't do what my brain tells it to do all the time. That's a nervous thing. So when I have to play something, I want something easy now. I've got my Strat, wonderful. I've got my Ibanez, I've got my Jacksons, I've got my Viper, my LTD, I've got my Goldens, I've got my 3 Telecasters now. I've got a Washburn 7-string I'm looking at over there. I've got another Ibanez upstairs from the 90s, an old RG series with a wafer thin neck. So I've got a great choice to play on. But this one, it just seems to suit my hands, and very, very cool. As I say, we're going down the fretboard now. It's 22 frets, so it's 21 really, because I wouldn't even count this as a fret, if I'm honest. Reason being is because the way that the neck tenon is slightly raised. It's like, there's the body of the guitar, it's slightly raised like this. That's to accommodate a very low action, right? But it's resonant with a low action as well, which is kind of cool. Now, so just as I say, 21 Strat players will like it, you'll get on with it. Now, these pickups are fantastic. This a very low output PAF, if you want, style humbuckers. Not like what Gibson were putting them in the 70s. I tended to take these covers off because I imagine it would be a bit louder. You do have to crank this a lot to get a bit of noise out of it. However, I lowered this one and I raised this one because I like the bridge sound. I like the bridge sound to be a little, not twangy, I want it to be punchy, But I like the neck sound to be creamy, and that really does that. We'll go down here again, a little bit further down, say regular, the little end is gone off that, but what are we going to do? 3-way selector, very solid. Treble, this pickup. Middle, both pickups were a combination of these two. Rhythm, that pickup. Never agreed with the word rhythm on that. That's where most of the tone lies, I find. Old school Gibson style, and these might actually be Gibson witch hat, as they say. Volume and tone. So you've got volume, tone, volume, tone. This one is for this pickup. This one is for this pickup, so you can actually mute pickups like you can on a Les Paul. And they are very good. Little bit crackly, a little bit cranky, but so am I. This isn't factory. This isn't stock. This Bigsby, I believe, is a 90s Bigsby. It's very good. It's very, very responsive, and it's very, very well installed. There would have been a Tune-o-matic style stop tailpiece here. I say that the saddles are original, and they're holding up pretty well. There is a little crack in this one though, but I've got spares, so we're okay. I've got 2 ESP bridges. It's actually reversed at the moment because I prefer it that way. When you're installing or when you're restringing a Bigsby, just be aware of the little hooks underneath where you actually hang the string on. They can catch your finger in an instant. Like, seriously. I'm going to play this in a minute, so don't worry, there will be noise in this video. I'm going on about this because I'm truly excited about this guitar. There are a few honest little checks and things like that, and sounds beautifully, whoever you are, you actually engraved your name on the back of the guitar. But it's my guitar now. That sounded bad, didn't it? But it's held up very well, particularly the neck. The neck is immaculate. There's a little divot here. Obviously, someone had a capo going at some stage. Makes me think it was definitely a rhythm player. They were only into F sharp and A by the look of things, but there's definitely capo damage. Someone's obviously dropped it here, and there's been a little bit of honest repair. And by that, I think they took a bit of sandpaper to it because it's not quite even there. But it all adds to the character of what's essentially a fine guitar. So this guitar, I'm calling because I got it the same week I went to see AC/DC in Dublin. It's got to be called Angus, isn't it? I don't think he'd mind that it's not a Gibson. If you're naming an SG and you're going to see AC/DC in the same week, You have to call the guitar after Angus Young. It's the law. By the way, he was phenomenal. If you see him anytime on that Power Up tour, blew my mind. Yeah, growing old gracefully. So that's it. A very, very thin, very, very serviceable, very, very well balanced blues machine. I'm going to make some noise. I hope you don't mind. Thanks for watching. Enjoy.